Welcome back to Western Pennsylvania. If you've had an ad at the beginning of this video, it's not my fault. It's YouTube put it on. I didn't want them. First thing about Suzuki is I wrote a letter to Suzuki in California to the headquarters. I couldn't find an email address, but I found an address. So I sent them a letter and asked them about all the problems that people are having with the idling on their Suzuki Boulevards. And there's a lot of them. And I said about, is there any help that they can give us, riders that own these bikes, without going to a dealer and, you know, just paying like crazy for it? There's got to be some fix. There ought to be a recall on them if they're doing that. That's where I'm at with it. So it's set and it's going to wait a little bit. On to the Honda that I just bought. I found that cleaning it and going over it like I said, and I'm going to change brake fluids and all that, well, the back brakes, the pistons in there were frozen up. I've completely took it apart and cleaned it, and you can see this one piston's up, the other one's in there, but I took them out and I cleaned them and I got them working real free. There's two gaskets inside, and the gaskets they needed cleaned, and I put them in a little bath. I have a little container there with Armor All in. I put them in there and let them set for a while, and then wiped them off, put them back in. And these pistons, they come out about that far, maybe not quite as far, when you're using your brakes. And I took them apart just enough that I could get a pair of vice grips on them and try to turn them back and forth and back and forth. They were frozen. It ended up I put blaster in around here, left it set. Then I heated this outside. I took all the rubber parts off, took it all apart, just barely heated it, didn't take much. And I had this in a vise and I just kept turning back and forth. It finally started freezing up, freeing up and freeing up. And as I did, I pulled outward, I got it out, and then I did it with this one because this one was sticking up. So now you can see they go right in. It's just the rubber in there holding them. Without the rubber, with the rubbers out, I tried it, put it in, it just falls right in. That's the way it should be. Then I found one rubber part that was had a little split, a little tear in it up here. So what I did was I used this clear RTV silicone adhesive, sealant. I like that word adhesive on it. So I filled the hole with that. Then I went all around that edge with it. It'll make that silicone stay on a lot better. And this takes a good while to dry and get really, you know, so it ain't sticky. But that's the best way to fix that. Go clear around it. It'll really hold on. So that's fixed. Then as I did the other parts, I'm just going over everything. It's kind of like detailing and fixing it. You can see here I have this muffler done. It's all, that's been repainted, that. And down here towards where it goes into the bike, there was a little hole, one pit hole. So I put JB Weld on it. I used the red and yellow, not the red and black, the red and yellow epoxy mix. I filled the hole. But just like I did with the silicone, I went clear around it with that because it goes into there and stops. There's a gasket goes on here. I bought 2 new ones for it. That pipe is cleaned, ready to be painted, and I'll give it one last wire brushing and then go over it. And these are welded on. You can't take them off, so it's hard to get down in there. But I just took my time and got a little brass brush, and I went in there and dug all around. I got all the dirt out, blew it out real good. Then I painted it. Painted this all flat like it should be, then this shiny. Then moving over here, the final drive, I have it all done. I cleaned it inside and out, and this had like an ugly texture on it, and I thought somebody had just, like, it was dirty or something, just painted it, you know, to make it look nice. Well, I seen on YouTube a guy that had this out, and he's redoing his bike, and it was the same way. So it was like maybe a texture at one time. Wire brushed it all, got it all off, painted it. This part just needed clean. And that drive gear that goes up in the end of the shaft, because it's shaft driven, and I got to clean up in there. Then the shock, I took it off because the black part inside was really rusted on one side, just one side. So I got in there the best I could, and I worked, got all the rust off, painted it. Now the blue part, it's got a lot of paint off of it. I'll just take a little brush, and I got some blue paint, and I'll just go around that. Real, careful, keep turning it, and get it done. But up inside here, and as I'm working from the back to the front, you can see the swing arm. It's rusted. The tank, gas tank's up under that black flap there. It's rusted. All of that has to be cleaned. And those two pipes go into this piece down here. That goes on up and then goes up to your exhaust manifold. I'm thinking of taking that all off while I'm right here, and just go ahead and do it. Wire brush it, clean it, make sure there's no holes, and do it. But all this has to be done back in here. These pieces have to all be, the rust way up inside there, the best I can get it. I was thinking about taking the swing arm off, but I think I can do it without that. And I'll just hand brush it. I'm not going to spray it. I'm just going to hand brush it. But I got my new brakes in. I'll have to clean this good, and then when I put it all back together, put all new fluid in it. I have it down there, it was draining out. Then there was a plastic thing on the side of the bike that had the big hole in. When the cowling was on here, there's a plastic piece come out, and I had showed, I think, about the big hole in it that they had put in it. Well, I used my plastic welder from Harbor Freight, and I fixed it. So it'll go on, let's see, like this. Get it the right way. That'll go on to cover that. And that's no more hole in it. That's fixed. And I've got the air filter came, and I started back in here where the toolbox is. I have a little more to do, but all this is getting cleaned. I have it cleaned down here, but I have to go from here forward, down in here, just on and on. I ordered spark plugs. I got online and ordered them, and I ordered the exact number that's in here. And one thing that was kind of chilling, when I took this out to see the plug, I took this plug out because it's so easy to get at. And I went to take it out, put the socket down in. It comes in a toolkit, the socket that fits it. Went to turn it, and it was like I could have done it just with hand, but I had a wrench on it because I thought it was going to be real tight. It unscrewed right out, and I thought, don't tell me that thing is stripped. Well, I thought, I looked at the threads. They were clean, they were nice. Kind of looked down in the hole. I didn't see any like little wickers like come off the threads. So I thought, well, put it back in, put it finger tight, took the wrench and tightened it a little bit. It was tight. Maybe last time the plugs were changed, it could have been that they put them in, run them down with their hand, and forgot it. Maybe, I don't know if the other ones are like, I only took one out so far. But that could have happened, probably, I'm thinking. But anyway, it didn't hurt anything. So that's why my nephew come up yesterday evening. He had his bike here, and he was detailing it and stuff, and we're talking. And I told him, I said, that's why this bike, I rode straight home, and that was it. I go all over it because of stuff like that. That plug could work out of there and blow out, and oh man, I mean, you just never know. So it's best to start from scratch. And I'm replacing everything. I got more stuff I ordered coming. Can't even remember what it was I just ordered. Oh, I ordered gaskets. They're round for the exhaust manifold. So if I take that off, I have 4 to put back in. So I ordered them. And that's where I'm at with this. So I got a good ways to go with this. We're going to have really nice weather. We could have did some riding, but I'd rather get this thing where I take it out. I am comfortable with it. And the shock, because I'm on a tippy toe, one tippy toe, I took the shock and I put it at the setting, You can reset it like for different, how much is weight's on the bike and everything. I made it the shortest. Whatever comfort it is, I don't care. I want it the shortest I can get it. So I shortened that shock a little bit. I'm not sure if it adjusts it from eye to eye like that, or if it just, you know, is on the spring. I think it's just on the spring. I don't think the shock itself, I'll have to adjust it and try that. I never thought of that. Because if you would set it on another setting and it would make it like from eye to eye on that longer and shorter, that'd be all right. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. I'll put it back. It was about in the middle. I'll put it back in the middle. So I'll have to do that, measure it. But I measured it where it was before I started, from eye to eye and from end to end. I wrote it in my book. That way I know where I was at. And it was a nice ride coming home. And still got a bunch of parts coming. And the back tire, that tire, he said about he put that tire on. It's a better tire. And I thought, just going to check. It doesn't need it for a good while. But I want to check. It was like going to be $156, which isn't bad for that tire. It's kind of wide. I thought it'd be more than that. I thought it'd be like $250. So $156 free shipping on eBay. So that ain't bad. But this bike, I'm really liking it, because it's just what I want. But I haven't get it up on the Suzuki. I'm gonna get that thing fixed somehow. But I still got to bring it out and then run it up and then put the tool on it and check it. That's where I'm at here. I still got a lot of scraping and cleaning and everything like that to do. I like this because it has carbs instead of fuel injection. Makes it a lot better, simpler. My nephew's got that 2000 Harley Davidson FLH Standard, it's called. And he come up and he said about the idling's high. Well, I looked up under there and everything. I could see the carburetor. It only has one carb on it for the 2 cylinders, but I could see the screw, the stop screw. So what I did was I dialed it down some, and I said, well, you need to take it out the road, bring it back, warm it up. He did. It was still, then it was just a hair too high, because I told him once it warms up, it's going to idle a little faster. So he has a tack on his, so I set it right about 1200 RPM. Perfect. Man, that thing purred nice, and when he left, he started it up, warmed it up a little bit, and then it just purred. Oh, it was nice. And this bike, they said in the book I was looking at, it said when they sold these over in Europe, the where they want it to idle is 1100 RPM. In the United States, 1200. So must be something, you know, in the atmosphere or something that judges that. But they say that's where to adjust these. And you have an adjuster right here, clear on top. Let me see if I can find it. Right here. That you screw back and forth, and it comes in this box. It goes on there. I took it off to clean it. It comes right in through here, and it's right by your gas cap. So you can open that lid and you can just dial that up or down for your idle. That is nice. Now see, Suzuki, why don't you have something like that on your boulevards? Go back to carburetors. To hell with them fuel injectors and all that stuff. Man. Yeah, it's like cars. My car has automatic windows, you know, put up and down, stuff like that, but it's not too fancy. But Lois has the Chevy Aveo. She loves it. Wind up windows, wind them up and down, whatever's going to go wrong with that. Everything's simple on it. Cheap on gas. Now you got to, you know, it's a little higher RPMs when you're going up hills with that car, but everything else is really nice, easy to work on. It ain't bad. But boy, the Suzuki, it's a shame. It's a shame that everybody has to go through that. Even if they would come out and say, okay, we're going to put carbs on that. and have one price. You get the kit, it has instructions how to take all that off, put your regular carbs on, like 2 of them maybe, and you know what I mean? That would solve all the problems. And a guy can take the thing out and clean them. That way, you know, if you pay that, you're pretty much done with it. It's going to run good, and that's all I care about. So, see you on the next video. Have a good day.